Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back to Primetime Local News. One more hour with Josh and Abby, looking at sports, weather, news, and more. Talking a lot about food in the last hour with our question of the day. We'll transition to some other things we love from childhood, because there are a number of other things outside of food that we still do just as adults. Yeah,
like certain activities, or maybe even sports or movies or TV shows that we still watch or go back to, or rewatch on a loop. So there's definitely more than just food that we enjoyed as children and still enjoy as adults.
Or even books like The Hobbit, still my favorite book. And I read that as an 8-year-old, so not much has changed for me. We're going to head out now to Eric Bay. He was on location earlier today.
Thanks, guys. Well, I know a long weekend just ended, but it's never too early to think about what you got going on for the next weekend. And we are out here at the Frenchman's Butte Museum talking about their annual festival day, which will be coming up here this weekend. There will be tons of stuff to check out for people of all ages. They have the parade, they have food as well. So we're going to be going through a little bit about what they do have, the importance of this day for the museum, and everything that you can come out here and check out. But before that, we'll head back into the studio, and Abby will have a look at your local news.
And a sinkhole on the corner of 50th and Highway 17 formed yesterday, and close to 24 hours later, that sinkhole has grown to a size where they've had to close down the road. The original hole did not take up too much space on the road, but come today, the sinkhole has forced the road to close and the city to start construction on it. They are digging up the rest of the hole, and there's currently no access to the road adjacent to the sinkhole. Residents enjoyed the long weekend with a blast from the past, courtesy of Heritage Days. Josh Ryan has more on how new and longtime residents took in the festivities.
Despite being an event focused on looking back in time, Heritage Day always has a few surprises.
But you know what? This one will work well, and this one's really great.
Changes every year a little bit. Some things do not change. Some of the equipment is the same. There's new generations looking at old equipment, and I think it's very interesting and startling to them at some point.
Back in the days when people did not have the rubber tires and they were doing cultivation by the iron tires, that was strange. At least they don't get a puncture or something.
The expanding list of attractions for families to enjoy has helped bring in bigger crowds.
Say I'm seeing more people every year almost. Good to hear all the old tractors running and people dressed in the period clothing.
I have a little daughter. She really enjoyed the animal part, and she was yelling, birdie, birdie, birdie.
For many, it's a fond reminder of what their ancestors accomplished.
I had grandparents that came here and homesteaded, so to speak, and lived with hardly anything. And some of the stuff they worked with is here on site, and all through the generations that followed them is here on site as well.
And for others, it's a discovery of where and what they came from.
Lost touch with some of the old methods and that, and I'm quite certain that they probably never seen this kind of equipment and such, so it's interesting to see them participate.
And that helps them link to their family roots as well in some ways. So it does different things for different people.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
The controversy around the continued use of plastic materials is still an ongoing battle. As our Tegan Gieselbrecht reports, Acton Lower Shannon Farms, a local family-run operation, is doing their part in encouraging people to reuse when possible.
Acton's Lower Shannon Farms isn't a regular farm. When they sell their product in their grocery store, they use sustainable packaging to contain the goods.
This is one of our main ones, is the lettuce containers. They look like plastic, but they're plant-based and they're 100% compostable. Our bags for putting the produce in are totally degradable. They'll break down within a year.
They discovered the Canadian-made products through online digging. If someone is wanting to know if an item is reusable, they're encouraged to look it up.
I think they can look at what they're buying and look whether it is plastic or whether it is reusable, and reuse it in any way that they can. Like, every little helps as long as it doesn't go to the landfill.
Not adding to landfills and keeping the world clean is in line with Chris's beliefs.
I think if we keep putting bad things that change the environment into the earth. It's just not going to be here forever if we don't make the effort to look after some pieces of it. And if everybody just did a little bit, I'm sure it would make a huge difference.
The business switched to biodegradable items back in February 2018. With Sobeys set to remove plastic bags from their stores, Chris is hopeful for the future.
I think it's great they're doing it, but I really think they can, after doing this here, there's so much more that can be done, and I'd like to see the big companies doing it as well, because it's not that hard to find stuff that can be used again.
Tegan Gieselbrecht, Primetime Local News.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here at Frenchman Butte, and we are talking about their annual festival day for the Frenchman Butte Museum, and Marilyn Huffam joins me now. So first off, we're standing outside the museum here, so can you tell us a little bit about the history of the museum and how it got started?
Yes, the museum got started in 1979, and it started with this building here that we're standing in front of with the CN. And when they took the railroad out of Frenchman Butte, this building and the land was available for sale, and the museum bought it. And there was an older gentleman from north here that had a lot of collections and antiques, and wasn't able to live out in the country anymore. So they moved him in with all his arrowheads and his guns and whatever, and that's how the museum got started in 1979. And and all the rest of this is all been added on since. And there was a group of people in this community that got it going, and this year we have 3 left. And we're going to have them in the parade to honor them for getting this started.
Very cool for sure. Now, once again, we're talking about your annual festival day going on here this Sunday, and now that hasn't gone on as long as the museum has been around. So can you talk about how that got started, how long you've been doing that for?
Yes, I guess they were looking for ways to make money to keep the museum operating, and I'm thinking that's about 29 or 30 years we've had the annual festival, and it started out as a berry festival. So this time of the year there was lots of berries, so there was lots of pies made, and so homemade pies and whatever was the big issue here. And so then we've gone to the annual festival day, which includes a lot more than just the pies.
All right, thank you for this. We're going to have some more back here talking about everything that will be happening at the annual festival day, but before that we're going to head back into the studio.
Temperature of 16 degrees is holding strong in the border city. The cloud cover also holding strong as well. And despite how cloudy it has looked, we actually missed the worst of the cloud cover earlier this afternoon, and thus obviously missing out on any possible precipitation. Your records from 97 and 89, certainly drastic differences. Your wind picking up a couple of kilometers in the last 10 minutes. Before that, it was calming down a little bit. We should see a fairly gradual calm down now over the next 2 hours. Looking quickly at your satellite and radar from earlier, as you can see, that low pressure system did pass through Wainwright, but the worst of it south of Provost, so any chance of rainfall really came with it there instead. And as a result, we have some more cloud cover ahead, but not likely any precipitation. Lloydminster sitting at 16 degrees with Cold Lake at 18 and a couple of rays of sunlight here or there. Meadow Lake at 14 degrees, North Battleford 17, also very cloudy in that area, and they will be relatively cloudy as well tomorrow despite some more sunlight. 16 in Isle La Crosse, 18 in Provost where it's also cloudy. Edmonton 19 degrees, they've had some sunlight, it'll get cloudier over the next hour. And your 3-day forecast, again, 20 degrees with a low of 7 tomorrow. Should be only a couple of clouds that you'll see in the sky as the wind shifts to the west-northwest. It'll shift to the south on Thursday, rather, where we'll see a high of 23 and a low of 10. Then just below seasonal temperatures on Friday at 21 and 10, and still a fair amount of sunlight to look forward to, but an increased chance of precipitation, though it still remains low as the wind shifts to the north-northwest that day and will pick up a little bit again, around 13 to 15 kilometer gusts for the afternoon and the evening. That's been your 3-day forecast. We'll have your 7-day later on in the show.
Welcome back. Well, legitimate honey producers say they're getting stung by counterfeiters and say consumers need to look for signs that what they're buying is the real stuff. Murray Hannigan is the president of Hannigan Honey in Saskatchewan and says it's impossible to match the low cost of diluted honeys when sugar syrups cost a fraction of the price. CFIA chemist Jonathan Hatch says the best way to avoid fake honey is to learn where the product comes from, shop locally, and look for the Be Made label. Be Made is a cooperative of Canadian producers that guarantees the product is 100% Canadian and 100% pure honey. And now we're going to take a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
For the second straight weekend, BJ Carey was crowned champion at a weekend of CPCA Chuck Wagon racing. The most recent stop was out at Frog Lake for the Midwest Chuck Wagon Classic, and unlike many weekends this season so far, some good weather allowed for 3 full days of racing. 2 of those days saw BJ Carey take home the best time of the night and then eventually the weekend title. That now puts Carey 9th on the leaderboard with 618 points, while Todd Baptiste continues to pace the group with 753. The CPCA will head to Turtleford this upcoming weekend for the last stop before the season championships in Lloydminster. Young kids are getting their shot to hit the course this month as part of Junior Golf Days running throughout August. Each Tuesday, Rolling Greens Fairways is hosting a day of golf instruction and learning as part of their junior program for kids in the Lakeland area. Each day includes a 30-minute golf lesson, a chance for the kids to get on the track and play around, and of course, some good food. The hope is to spark an interest in golf at a young age for these kids.
Junior's future. I mean, it's a really expensive game to get into, and if we can do a little bit to make sure that they're getting some lessons, figuring out how to do it on the golf course properly, they're going to want to come back because they're going to enjoy it.
Each week a new lesson is taught, and to kick off the Camp Tuesday, putting was the focus. Of course, the kids learned the basic fundamentals, but also had some fun with competitions and relay races, and that's exactly the goal for the junior days.
It's a fun thing. We want to make sure that they're enjoying it, that they're wanting to come to the golf course, and then yeah, we're going to sneak in a little bit of lessons there so that they can improve their skills and want to bring more friends each time, and instead of going to the skate park, hey, let's go golfing.
The Junior Days program runs for the remainder of August each Tuesday with a final wrap up at the end of the month. And now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, back here at the Frenchman's Butte Museum, and we are talking about their annual festival day, and I'm joined by Marilyn Huffam. And now talking a little bit about the day itself, I know we talked, it's not as a little more recent that is than the museum, but what do you guys have going on this day that everybody can come out and check out?
Okay, so this day on Sunday, August the 11th, we start at 10:30 in the morning with a church service, and at 11 o'clock then everything opens up. The buildings all open up for tours. The homemade pie and ice cream booth opens up, and the hot dog booth. And and there's we have a quilt raffle here, so there'll be a booth set up for that to get homemade tickets on your homemade quilts. By this time, there's lots of people have gathered around, and so at 1 o'clock then we have our parade. And it's usually a very nice parade. We have lots of old cars come and local people in it. And so then after that, at 2 o'clock, everything opens up again for the buildings and all the displays we have, and it goes on. There's so much visiting and homecoming type people here that do a lot of visiting and catching up. We have kids games in the afternoon. We also really would like to thank all our volunteers at this time if I can. We couldn't do this without all the community. We only have 53 people live in the hamlet, but we have a surrounding community here that is fabulous. And we could not put this day on without them. And the profits for this day, I'd like to say, helps keep our museum operating and helps make all the improvements that my husband will talk about later. I'd also like to talk about our RV park at the end here. We have 10 full site stalls there, and so if anybody wants to come and stay and have a weekend here of the local history and at our museum, they will have a place to stay in their camper.
And now just really quick, you did mention that people coming home, it's kind of like a homecoming. So what's the importance of getting everybody together in the community around an event like this one?
Well, you know, the people that are coming back here, this is home to them. And a lot of this has, you know, they've gone to school in the old schoolhouse. They've been in the station and got on the train, you know, years ago. So I think that the importance is we can gather them here at one spot and where it's beautiful and the landscaping and everything else.
All right, thank you for this. We're going to have some more from back here once again, but before that, we'll go back into the studio.
Still haven't seen the distinct cool down yet in this region, but by about 10-11 p.m. we will certainly start to see it, dropping down to 7 degrees overnight, quickly back up into double digits by 8 a.m. So not long before we're back to kind of the seasonal average you'll see in both the morning and in the afternoon. A little bit of wind chill, so that will take off some of the degrees of temperature. So if it's at plus 20 rather, it'll feel a little closer to something like plus 16. Not as bad certainly as it has been this afternoon, where we've had 20 to 25 kilometers of gusts at minimum. You can see here this low pressure system on the border part of the BC and Alberta mountain range is making its way south, so that should miss us over the next couple of days. A little bit of cloud cover still creeping in by Wednesday around 6 p.m. And then your current temperature is 16 here in Lloydminster, 19 in Edmonton, 14 out in Edson, and some of these other towns are starting to cool down. Jasper at 17 degrees, same for Whitecourt and Athabasca. On the Sask side, Melfort now down to 16 degrees along with Prince Albert, and Saskatoon is still staying strong at 18 degrees. 17 in North Battleford, and they'll get down to 7 overnight again. A little clearer than certainly the skies have been over this afternoon and evening. 21 tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud as those west-northwest winds will calm down to around 11 degrees. Certainly a more pleasant evening expected there than they've had today. In Cold Lake, 18 with a low of 7, getting back to 20 tomorrow with a little bit more sunlight in the Lakeland region. The wind much more calm as well. Northwest winds will shift to the south overnight, but right back to the west tomorrow. 5 or 6 kilometers should be the expectation there. And in the border cities, 16 degrees, expecting a low of 7, expecting a high of 20 tomorrow, and again, largely clear skies starting this evening, moving on through to tomorrow. The wind will calm down to about 9 kilometers over the next 24 hours out of the west-northwest. We do have some gustier days ahead still. You look at the 7-day forecast, we're back into double digits for the next couple of days heading into the weekend. 23 and 10 the temperatures on Thursday. Again, largely sunny skies, but there will be some clouds here and there, and an increased chance of precipitation coming with it as well on Friday, where the high should be 21 degrees. Then we cool right back down to 17 on Saturday, and the rest of the 7 days we are below seasonal averages. 18 on Sunday, where there's more than a 60% chance of rain. 18 on Monday, and then 19 degrees with a low of 9 on Tuesday to finish off your 7 days. The wind shifting all over the place, but stays relatively consistent, just a little bit above single digits in terms of wind speeds. The lows definitely below average for this time of the year, as Thursday and Friday will be the warmest days of the week. And that's been your 7-day forecast. Stick around, we'll have more after the break.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here at the Frenchman Butte Museum talking about their annual festival day, and I'm joined now by Tom Huffam, and now we're talking a little bit about the changes you guys have put into the museum. So can you tell us what you guys have done there?
Well, we've made tremendous changes in the Lloyd Furman building and also in the caboose. Now, the Lloyd Furman building, there's about 400 hours of changing the artifacts. They were in old display cases, and we got in some new glass shelving and put them in. Our aim is to have a different look in that museum. People come year after year to the museum, and we don't want them being bored. We want them to see something new. And it was very interesting going through some of the old drawers in there. We found artifacts that are extremely interesting, and they were hidden, and now they're in picture frames, and they're hanging on the wall there. So it was a great experience going through that stuff and finding stuff we didn't even know we had. And we go over to the caboose over back here, and it was in kind of bad shape, so everything got tore out, and new flooring put in, new shelving, and we're going to keep that as a top secret, what's in that building, because it's going to be really interesting to some people, and we hope they'll enjoy that.
No, that's very cool for sure. And now really quick as well, we did talk off camera. You guys have a 55 Massey that the kids will be able to check out here. So you can tell us a little bit about that one.
Yes, we restored that in our new restoration shop. We're very proud of the shop we got, and we got tools in there, and we're doing that work. It'll be set out here for the kids to play on, pictures to be taken if they want. And hopefully they'll all come and enjoy what we have to offer here.
I'm sure they will. Thank you for this. We are going to have some more back here once again, but before that, we are going to head back into the studio.
Pretty common answers amongst some of our watchers with Question of the Day. What do you love as an adult that you love just as much as you did when you were a kid? Outside of the food, again, the commonality, some other ones that came up included horses. You can see that for a lot of people. Motorcycles, which probably actually deepens for some adults. Yeah. And then also afternoon naps.
Oh, yes.
Which I can't get anymore, but I can understand why you would love that as a kid and as an adult.
Yeah, I was never a napper. Like, even as a child, I never napped. And so that doesn't really translate. But I know for my sister, she can nap anywhere at any time. So I understand the love for that carries on throughout adulthood.
Absolutely. Of course, we were talking a little bit earlier about there's many other things you still enjoy as an adult, such as movies. And while many movies obviously do age out or your tastes change, there are still some classics, whether it's E.T., Back to the Future, things like that you see as a kid that do still hold up.
Yeah, and the nice thing about those kind of movies, like, John Hughes movies, or like you said, Back to the Future, you can show them to your children, and they kind of just live on, because those kind of movies, they have aged very, very well. So it's those type of movies, like those coming of age movies, that you can pass on to your children, which are always nice.
Really, the mark of a classic is when everyone in the family can enjoy it in any generation.
Exactly.
Kind of like our next segment, which is pretty enjoyable for any generation, and that is Pet of the Day. And we'll jump right in with Ava, who is ready to go exercising.
Looks very majestic, probably waiting to get going on the walk or at the in the park.
Yeah, potential run maybe, if not for the leash. Lou is up next, who's doing anything but exercising.
Very, very adorable cat, I must say.
Yeah, always the best poses. Meme living up to his or her name.
Very gorgeous. I love black cats. I think they're beautiful, so very cute.
Scrappy, who's also chillaxing.
Yes, I love this picture because it just, you just love putting your pets into things for that photo op, and this is a great example for that.
And dogs are always great, of course, for humoring us. Tater Tot to finish things off.
Very, very adorable name to go along with a very adorable kitten.
And always don't forget, you need the name and the picture to win that gift card.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Today I'm joined here with Becca from the SPCA, and she has brought in Beth, this adorable American Bulldog cross. Tell me just a little bit about how she came to the SPCA and what she's all about.
Yeah, so she came in as a stray. She came in from around Two Hills, I believe, and she was showed up on a farm, and she had a bit of a rough encounter with their dog. She herself is not a fan of other dogs, so she probably initiated it a little bit. So that's what we've kind of figured about her. She's not a huge fan of other dogs, but loves humans. Yeah, she was initially a little bit shy here, meeting everybody, but no, she's doing good. She warms up quite quickly.
And have you seen how she reacts with kids? Would she be more suited to older children?
Yeah, I think just really in the sense that she is just she's a puppy still, kind of in a sense as well. So I mean, I think that she needs a little bit more training, things like that. And so yeah, just older kids in a sense that she could be a bit of a moose and kind of knock them over. When she gets pretty excited, she gets quite bouncy and excited and happy to be, everywhere basically. So yeah, so initially I would say just older kids, just because of her energy level. But I think she would be pretty good in a family home.
And you said that she's not really great with dogs. Have you noticed how she reacts to other animals like cats?
Yeah, she seems a little too interested. I walked her by the cats today and she really wanted to go see them. Initially, like, she wasn't growling or anything like that, but I mean, we don't test with them just because obviously for safety reasons, but she, I think if she got spotted, she might kind of retaliate as well. That's kind of the same thing initially with the dogs too. Yeah. Like we were kind of talking before about maybe like if another submissive type dog was around her, but I think she's kind of a dog that just enjoys her own animal space anyway.
Yeah, no kidding. And how are you doing with numbers, cat and dog wise?
Yeah, we're still ranging about the same. Like, we had about 10 adoptions last week, but we get another litter of kittens in and it kind of just cancels each other out, sort of thing. So I mean, we are still doing really good for adoptions. The dogs, we still have a few in care, but not as many as we used to, so that's kind of nice as well too. A couple of our longer residents are still kicking around, so I mean, if you're interested in something like that, definitely come take a look at them. Yeah. But yeah, we're not overwhelmed right now anyway, which is nice. So, knock on wood again, right? But
yes, exactly.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad.
And so would you say that, you had a big rush of strays coming in or surrenders? Do you think that that's kind of died down just a little bit now?
Yeah, probably from the previous month, for sure, it has died down a little bit. Like we are kind of just getting the trickling litters in now instead of, a couple each day. So, that's kind of nice. And, we are still looking for fosters to kind of hold on to a few more of the litters of kittens that we do have. But yeah, so we still have quite a few kittens in care that need to go into foster until they're ready, but we're not getting them in as much as we were in the spring.
And we were talking just a little bit off camera, the SPCA will be at an event on Thursday.
Yeah, it's a Monster Wrestle Pro, I think it's called, and they're going to be at the Lloyd Golf or Rolling Green, sorry, I believe it's at Rolling Green, sorry. And yeah, we get to set up a donation table there, and I've heard that the tickets are selling quite quickly, so that's really cool. So it's a very different event for us. So, and I mean, we're just kind of there to hang out and chat with people, and if you have any donations for us, we're there to chat about you, to where they go and everything like that as well too. So
all right, well, perfect. Thank you so much for bringing in Beth.
Pet Project is brought to you by Quick Pick Waste Disposal, Lloydminster's #1 waste and recycling hauler. Quick Pick is waste collection you can depend on.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Today I'm joined here with Natalie Ackerman and Dawn Hames, and today we're going to be talking about their summer soiree that is coming up this Thursday downtown. So first, thank you so much for coming in and explaining what this event is. So can we just start off by explaining what people can expect from this event?
Sure. So we've been doing this for several years downtown. It's a group of downtown businesses that get together, and we have amazing sales. We have snacks and beverages, and this year we have the added bonus of a live band downtown, and Natalie with Hope for More is doing a barbecue as a fundraiser.
And what would this fundraiser go towards for you?
It'll go towards our fall annual event, and this year it's in October, One Hope. Yeah, 2019, so it's exciting.
And this event brings together different downtown businesses. Why is that important to emphasize that this is a downtown event?
I think like one of the things is, you know, the downtown is the heart of the city. It's our downtown core. There's so many amazing businesses, and we have like Hot Peppers, Adeline Apparel, Juxta, Dawn Interiors, and Fashions, all involved, and the band is in the Cliff Rose parking lot, as is the barbecue. So it's going to be great.
And comparing previous years, what's going to make this this soiree stand out from previous years?
I think the fact that there's live music. Usually we had gone to the Route, and so we have live music outdoors, which Natalie has organized, and the barbecue outdoors as well.
And seeing as this has gone on for several years, have you found a large amount of success with these types of events?
Absolutely. People love the sense of community, that, you know, they can get a girlfriend, or some people call it a date night and they come downtown. And yeah, and this is even better because of the community event, Hope for More, that we can also support. So that's super.
Yeah. I think too, just being outdoors this summer, who wants to be inside? And music just brings you to life. And like Dawn said, the heart of the city, I really believe, beats out. Yeah, through this. So it'll be a fun night, and yeah, we're looking forward to it.
And you decided to bring in live music. What made you decide to try that this year?
Yeah, Kenny Mac has always played for us, so every barbecue we actually have had live music. Usually we've done it during the day, noon hours, but this time we're going to nights. We want to linger a little longer, bring people out, and just enjoy a summer night. So we're praying for great weather.
Of course, as we all hope that it's like that.
Exactly.
So just going off on just some of the information for people who would like to attend, what should people know before coming out?
Just come and have some fun and enjoy the downtown and enjoy Kenny Mac and buy a burger and support Hope for More and enjoy your community.
And really quickly before we wrap up, just to reiterate the time and the location for the event.
It's downtown, and the live music is at the Cliff Rose parking lot, as is the barbecue, and they'll just go to any of the businesses and pick up a stamp card because there's door prizes. And so it's Dawn Interiors and Fashions, Hot Peppers, Adeline Apparel, and Juxta. So far, there may be more businesses being added, but yeah, just come downtown and have some fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, perfect. Thank you so much for coming in and explaining. I'm sure this event's going to be awesome, just as previous years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abby.
Once again, we are back here at the Frenchman's Butte Museum, and we're talking about their annual festival day coming up this Sunday. And now I'm standing here on their caboose here, which used to be part of the railroad track. And now you're definitely going to want to check this out if you do come out here. I know Marilyn and Tom wouldn't tell us what's inside, but it's supposed to be pretty cool. And now this day is also very important for you to check out because all the funds raised go back to the museum. I know there is a water well punch here that took over 700 hours of volunteer work and tons of money as well. So it's definitely important to come out here and support as the funds raised from this day. It's kind of their most important fundraising day. And again, all the hard work, all the time and money it does take to run this and check all this stuff out is very important and definitely needs your support. So that's all we have from here tonight. Now we'll head back into the studio and Josh and Abby are going to wrap up tonight's newscast.
Thanks very much once again. Just a final touch on the question of the day. We never even talked about like physical activities.
Yeah, like I said bike riding. I think that's pretty universal because you can go with your kids or you can still hang out while going for a nice bike ride, or camping as well is also another one.
So there really isn't that much we don't love as an adult as we did as a kid. Thank you again, Abby. Thank you again, everyone. And we'll see you tomorrow night.